Every single year since hip-hop drew its first breath, this genre has buried somebody. Not just artists, not just names on a list, brothers, builders. People who made something out of nothing on rooftops, in project hallways, in studios that didn't have heat in January. From 1987 all the way to right now, this is every major hip-hop artist we've lost. Year by year, their age, their cause, the real story behind what happened. Some of these names you're going to feel in your chest before you even finish hearing them. And if you were alive for some of these moments, if you remember exactly where you were, you already know what this is. Let's go. Number 17, 1987, Scott LaRock, age 25, gunshot wound. The year is 1987. Boogie Down Productions is the hottest act coming out of the Bronx. Criminal Minded just dropped a debut album that's still in the highest conversation this genre has ever had. KRS-One and Scott LaRock are about to change everything. Then one night in August, D-Nice gets into a street dispute near Highbridge Project over nothing a girl situation, the kind of thing that should have been dead in 20 minutes. This is an introduction to poetry, a small dedication to those that Scott LaRock went to go help calm it down, because that's who he was, a man who worked as a social worker by day and produced Fire by Night. He never made it back. Shots fired from a nearby building. A bullet caught him in the back of the head while he was sitting in a Jeep. August 27, 1987. He was 25 years old. Here's the thing about this moment that you need to understand. Hip-hop had never buried anyone at that level before. This was the first. The very first high-profile murder of a major hip-hop artist. And the culture didn't know how to hold that grief. Out of that loss, KRS-One founded the Stop the Violence movement. Self-Destruction, that landmark 1989 record, came directly from losing Scott. Scott LaRock never got to see what he helped build become what it became. Some years started with possibility. This one ended with a funeral that changed the culture's relationship with itself forever. And the grief didn't stop there. Number 16, 1995, Eazy-E, age 30, AIDS-related pneumonia. Jump forward to early 1995. N.W.A. is already in the history books. Compton rap rewired what was possible. And Eazy-E, Eric Wright, the godfather of gangsta rap, the man who co-founded Ruthless Records, who put Dre and Cube on. He walks into Cedars-Sinai Medical Center thinking he has asthma. He was 30 years old. It's that man coming up from the land of the CPT. The diagnosis came back HIV positive. AIDS, already advanced by the time they found it. Now here's what you have to understand about that moment. Not just the loss, but the weight of what it meant.
What is up with me and you? We put this together, me and you. There is no me and
HIV and AIDS in 1995 were still a disease that mainstream culture quietly assigned to other people. Not to gangster rap, not to Compton, not to the man who posed with pistols on his debut album cover. Eazy went public. March 16, 1995, a prepared statement, read by his attorney at a press conference. He said it directly. This thing is real. It doesn't discriminate. He died 10 days later. March 26, 1995. The hip-hop world didn't know how to talk about AIDS before that day. Eazy forced the conversation, not because he wanted to, but because there was no more time left. And if Straight Outta Compton was in your tape deck, if N.W.A. was the record your parents didn't want in the house, you remember exactly where you were when you heard, because something about that era ended the day he left. Number 15, 1996, Tupac Shakur, age 25, gunshot wound. You know where you were. September 7th, 1996, Las Vegas. Tupac is ringside at the MGM Grand for the Mike Tyson fight. He's up, he's alive, he's winning.
My every move is a calculated step to bring me closer to embrace an early death.
Hours later, a white BMW pulls up alongside Suge Knight's car at a red light on Flamingo Road. An unidentified gunman opens fire. Tupac Amaru Shakur is hit 4 times. He holds on for 6 days. Fight. Then September 13th, 1996, he was gone. He was 25 years old. 25 with 5 albums worth of music already out. All Eyes on Me released in February of that same year, a double album. Over 7 million copies in its first year. He was operating at a pace that didn't look like someone who thought he had time. Here's what stays with me. Tupac had been talking about going in different directions, acting, producing, building something beyond rap. He had verses stockpiled, records that kept coming out for years after he died because he recorded at that kind of volume. The murder has never been officially solved. 30 years later, there's still no final verdict on who made that call, who was in that car, who gave the order. And whether that's about the feud, the industry, or something buried much deeper, I'll let you sit with that because I think you already have your own answer. If you were a certain age in September of 1996, if this was the first major death that made hip-hop feel genuinely mortal to you, you've never fully stopped thinking about it, and you're not alone in that. If you made it this far, you already know. You're not here for the algorithm highlights and TikTok clips. You're here for the real story. Here's what's crazy. 96% of people watching right now won't subscribe. They'll get the knowledge, then YouTube will bury us in their feed forever, which means when we drop that upcoming video, you'll never see it. Look, hip-hop radio ain't for everybody, but if you're still here, it's definitely for you. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter. Real recognize real. Number 14, 1997, the Notorious B.I.G, age 24, gunshot wounds. 6 months later, the culture hadn't caught its breath from losing Pac when it happened again. And this time, it felt like the genre itself might not survive. March 9, 1997, Los Angeles. Biggie had been in the city shooting the video for Hypnotize. After a Vibe magazine after party at the Peterson Automotive Museum, his SUV stopped at a red light near Wilshire Boulevard. A dark Chevy Impala pulled alongside him. A gunman opened fire. Christopher Wallace, the Notorious B.I.G, was hit 4 times. He was rushed to Cedars-Sinai. It wasn't enough. He was 24 years old. Life After Death, the album he'd been finishing, dropped 16 days later. It debuted at number 1, and the title, which felt darkly ironic when it dropped, became something closer to scripture by the time you heard it. Here's what people forget. Biggie had been actively trying to put the East Coast-West Coast feud behind him. He'd given interviews expressing sadness over Tupac's death. He was done with all of it. He was trying to get home to his kid. He never made it. Both murders, Tupac's and Biggie's, remain unsolved. 2 of the most famous human beings on the planet at that time, shot in public, in front of witnesses, and nothing, no convictions, no closure. And if you remember the silence that followed in the barbershop, at the corner store, in the hallways at school, you know, hip-hop changed in 1997 in a way that it never fully came back from. Something left with those 2. Something that had nothing to do with any song. Number 13, 1999, Big L, age 24, gunshot wound. You want to talk about talent that never got its full moment? February 15th, 1999, Harlem. Lamont Coleman, Big L, is standing outside near his building on West 139th Street. He shot 9 times, face and chest. He was 24 years old. And I need you to understand what was lost here, because Big L wasn't just talented, he was that talented. The kind of lyricist that makes other MCs go quiet when you put his name in the room. His freestyles from the late 90s are still being shared today like he dropped them last week. The wordplay, the breath control, the density of punchlines per bar. That's something most rappers spend entire careers chasing and never catch. Lifestyles All the Poor and Dangerous in 1995. That was his Def Jam debut. His second album was nearly finished when he died. The Big Picture came out posthumously in 2000. And here's what still doesn't sit right. His murder was never solved either. A childhood friend named Gerard Woodley was the main suspect, arrested, released for lack of evidence. Woodley himself was shot and killed in 2016 on the same block on 139th Street. Some stories don't close, they just keep bleeding. Big L at 24. Harlem never got what he was going to become. And if you're a real student of this craft, a lyricism head who takes these things seriously, you know his name belongs at the table with everyone the 90s ever produced. Number 12, 2000, Big Pun, age 28, respiratory failure, heart attack. February 7th, 2000, Big Pun, Christopher Rios, dies from respiratory failure triggered by a massive heart attack. He was 28 years old. He weighed 698 pounds. And before you move past that number, sit with it.
And I know you from where? Elementary school.
That's the weight of a man who had been using food to cope with life's difficulties since before the music, who had gained more than 500 pounds over a decade, tried to lose it multiple times, whose friends watched and worried, and didn't always know how to reach him on something that had become its own war.
It's on, you heard? Just wanna crush my wife.
The music was extraordinary. Still not a player. It's so hard. The debut album, Capital Punishment, going platinum, making him the first Latino rapper to go platinum as a solo artist. His breath control, his speed, his ability to switch between Spanish and English and slang in the middle of a single bar and make it sound effortless. He was just getting started. And this was a different kind of wake-up call for hip-hop. Not a bullet, not a drive-by. A body that had been carrying too much, in every sense of the word. Big Pun left behind 3 children. The youngest barely knew him. The Terror Squad lost its leader. The Latin hip-hop world lost its greatest voice. And the culture got its first hard lesson that the danger doesn't always come from outside. Number 11, 2002, Jam Master Jay, age 37, gunshot wound. October 30th, 2002, Jamaica, Queens. Jam Master Jay, Jason Mizell, the DJ who stood between Run-D.M.C and made Run-D.M.C the first rap group to break anywhere near a mainstream audience.
Somebody say yeah!
He's in his recording studio, working like he always was. 2 men walk in, one fires. Jason Mizell is 37 years old, dead in his own studio in the neighborhood where he built everything. Run-D.M.C broke hip-hop into the mainstream. Walk This Way with Aerosmith in 1986. That moment doesn't happen without Jam Master Jay. The rock crossover doesn't happen. Hip-hop stays in its lane for another decade without that bridge.
DMC and Jam Master Jay.
And here's the part the industry buried. The case went cold for 22 years. Then in 2024, 2 men were finally convicted of his murder. The motive, according to prosecutors, was a drug deal gone wrong. Jay had gotten caught up in some things after the group's commercial peak faded. The streets found him in a studio in Queens. 22 years for a verdict on one of hip-hop's true architects. And even then, one of the convictions was later overturned. Jam Master Jay at 37.
1, 2, 1, 2.
This genre doesn't exist the way it exists without him. And the closure that finally came, it came too slow for anyone to feel clean about it. Number 10, 2004 Old Dirty Bastard, age 35, accidental drug overdose. November 13, 2004, RZA's recording studio in Midtown Manhattan. ODB, Russell Jones, founding member of Wu-Tang Clan, the most unpredictable creative force this genre has ever seen, he collapses. Cocaine and tramadol, an accidental overdose. He was 35 years old, 2 days from his 36th birthday. And I want to push back on the version of ODB that gets reduced to the chaos in the mugshot. Because RZA said it himself, in the Tao of Wu, he was a scientist and a minor prophet. And if you spent time with the music, you know that's not hype. Behind all the personas, Dirt McGirt, Big Baby Jesus, Osiris, there was a genuine artist who heard rhythm and melody in a way nobody else in hip-hop has ever replicated. He'd just gotten out of prison when he died. Just signed to Rockefeller, was working on a new album. He was trying, and the weight of his own battles, addiction, mental health, a system that profited from his chaos and never once tried to protect him from it, caught up with him in the studio 2 days before his birthday. Wu-Tang lost its most irreplaceable voice on November 13, 2004. And if you've ever watched ODB walk up to the mic at the Grammys and collect Sean Carter's award on live television, you know nobody before him or after him has ever done anything close to what he did. Nobody. Number 9, 2006, Proof age 33 gunshot wound. April 11, 2006, Detroit. Proof Deshaun Holton, D12's heartbeat, and Eminem's best friend since childhood, is shot and killed during an altercation at a Detroit club. He was 33 years old. And this one carries a weight that goes beyond the music, because Proof and M weren't just rap partners, they were brothers. They came up together in Detroit's underground, in the ciphers in the clubs nobody outside Michigan was paying attention to. M has talked about it in interviews. Proof was the one who believed in him before anyone else did. The one who vouched for him in rooms where he might not have survived without that cosign. Proof left behind 5 children. And what happened to Eminem after? The pill addiction. The near-fatal overdose in 2007, the darkest chapter of his career. You can draw a straight line from April 11, 2006 to all of it. Part of what he was carrying was Proof. Detroit hip-hop never forgot, and if you know what that underground scene was, the battles, the ciphers, the city that raised both of them, you know April 11, 2006 is a date that city still holds. Number 8, Guru, age 43, cancer, multiple myeloma. April 19, 2010, Guru Keith Elam, one half of Gangstar, the MC behind some of the most precise, measured, intelligent rap ever committed to record, dies after a battle with multiple myeloma. He was 43 years old. Gangstar, Mass Appeal, Moment of Truth, the Hard to Earn album. If you know these records, you know exactly what was lost. DJ Premier's production underneath Guru's delivery, that combination was as close to perfect as hip-hop ever got. Cool, deliberate, wise in a way that never felt like performance. But here's where this story gets complicated, and I'll say it carefully because it matters. In Guru's final weeks, a statement was released from his bedside. by a business associate that cut Premier out of his entire legacy, out of the friendship, out of 20 years of music and brotherhood. Gone in a public statement, Primo said he was never given access in those final days. He found out his partner had died the same way the rest of us did. People who knew Guru well said the statement didn't sound like him, that it wasn't the man they knew. Whether that was industry business or someone taking advantage of a man in his final hours, that's something I'll leave you to decide. But it added a grief to the grief, and the hip-hop community still feels it.
Once again, setting it off, letting it off my chest, plus betting it all.
Number 7, 2011, Nate Dogg and Heavy D, ages 41 and 44, stroke complications and pulmonary embolism.
A very nice girl, but don't mistake it for no softy, and that's the way I like it. Yeah.
And hip-hop lost 2 of its biggest voices, not to the streets, to the body. Nate Dogg, Nathaniel Hale, the Hook King, the man whose voice made Regulate an instant classic. Who showed up on 2001, on 21 Questions, on Eminem Records, on everything that needed a voice that could carry a chorus from the first note to the last. He'd been battling strokes since 2007, losing function, fighting back, fading. March 15, 2011, he was 41 years old. And if you've ever had Regulate in a car in summertime, the windows down, the outro playing, you know that wasn't just music. That was a feeling. That was a time. You remember exactly where you were. Then November of the same year, Heavy D Dwight Myers, the overweight lover. The man who ran Uptown Records before Bad Boy, who made hip-hop feel like a good time before that became its own genre. He died November 8, 2011 from a pulmonary embolism. He was 44. 2 voices, same year. And some of y'all are nodding right now because you remember exactly how the timeline felt. One loss and then another before the first one even settled. Number 6, 2016, Phife Dawg, age 45, diabetes complications. March 22nd, 2016, A Tribe Called Quest loses its 5-foot assassin. Malik Taylor, Phife Dawg, dies from complications related to diabetes. He'd been fighting it since the early 90s. A kidney transplant in 2008. He called himself the funky diabetic because that's what you do with something that heavy. You name it, you keep going, you don't let it own the room more than you do. He was 45 years old. And here's what I think about when I hear Phife's name. Q-Tip had the profile, the abstract, cool, the solo career. But every time Phife stepped to the mic on Scenario, on Award Tour, on Butter, that's when you knew who the heart of the group was. The sports references, the humor, the Trinidadian roots bleeding through the cadence. He kept that group grounded in something real.
It's so ridiculous. You're sounding hideous. Come on. Talking tough, but be dressing on some whiskey.
ATCQ released We Got It From Here. Thank you for your service in 2016. The first album in 18 years, made largely as a tribute to him.
Graffiti art, jamming in the park, holding
Q-Tip could barely hold it together performing. And that album, the last thing they ever made together, is one of the most beautiful farewells in the history of this music. Phife didn't get to see what it meant to people.
I think I'm lost, yo. Tell me what you're dealing with. His rhymes be watered down like porn star glittering.
But some of y'all who played that record on repeat, you understood. You didn't even need to say it out loud. Number 5, 2017 Prodigy, age 42, sickle cell anemia complications. June 20th, 2017, Las Vegas. Prodigy of Mobb Deep, Albert Johnson, had just performed at the Art of Rap Festival. He's hospitalized. Sickle cell anemia crisis, the disease he'd been fighting since he was 3 months old.
salute me. You just a groupie.
He was 42 years old. And here's the thing about Prodigy's story that people underestimate. The fact that he made it to 42 is itself something. Sickle cell in 1974, when he was born, the life expectancy wasn't what it is today. And for a man living that life, performing with that intensity, carrying that energy on stage in his 40s, doing all of it while managing a disease that had been in his blood since before he could speak, that says everything about who he was.
You gangster. Really, I miss my swing.
Shook One's part. 2. If you've heard that opening, the piano, the strings, then Havoc's drums, you know what happened when Prodigy stepped in. That record changed East Coast hip-hop. It changed what Grammy meant as a compliment. Prodigy's at 42. Queensbridge lost to King. And if the infamous isn't already in your permanent rotation, go back. Listen like it's 1995 and the whole thing is new, because that music earned its place in every serious conversation this genre has ever had. Number 4, 2020, MF Doom and Pop Smoke, ages 49 and 20. February 19, 2020, Hollywood Hills, California. 4 in the morning, 4 men break into a house. Pop Smoke. Bashar Barakos Jackson was renting. He's shot. He's 20 years old. The Brooklyn drill sound he was building, Meet the Woo, that baritone, that presence, it was on the edge of becoming something massive. He'd already started to cross over. The men convicted of killing him were all teenagers. One of them was 15 years old. A 15-year-old killed Pop Smoke, and I want you to hold that, because it says something about cycles that hip-hop has been naming since self-destruction in 1988, and the cycles haven't stopped. Then December 31st, 2020, the last day of that year, the very last night, Doom's wife, Jasmine Dumille, posted on his Instagram account, 2 months of silence broken. MF Doom, Daniel Dumille, had died October 31st, Halloween. Nobody knew.
I like to take men to the end for 2 milli. That's the audio.
Here's what his wife later revealed at a coroner's inquest. Doom had been hospitalized at St. James Hospital in Leeds, England, for high blood pressure and kidney disease. Doctors prescribed him ACE inhibitors. After just 2 doses, his throat and tongue began to swell. A rare and severe reaction called angioedema. His condition collapsed. He went into respiratory arrest. And because of COVID-19 restrictions, Jasmine couldn't visit him in the hospital until October 31st. The day they took him off the respirator. He was 49 years old. Mad Villani, The Operation, Doomsday, The Mask Never Coming Off. The legend built entirely on music. And in death, even the cause stayed in shadow for 3 years. Before the full story came out through a coroner's hearing in Leeds. The man kept the mask on until the end, and that somehow is exactly right.
Real men's mind their own business. That's the difference between sissy pissy rappers is double.
Number 3, 2021, DMX, age 50, cardiac arrest.
That it hurt you more than it hurt me. I thought, how bad could this hurt be? I know that.
April 9th, 2021, White Plains, New York. Earl Simmons, DMX, suffers a cardiac arrest at home following a drug overdose. He's put on life support. The world watches and waits for a week. He doesn't make it back. He was 50 years old. And DMX's story requires more than a cause of death. It requires you to understand what he carried. From childhood, abuse, poverty, a crack cocaine addiction that was forced on him by someone he trusted when he was barely a teenager.
That's why it's only done out of love. What I wouldn't give for one more hug.
He spoke about it publicly, repeatedly, for decades, not to be pitied, because he wanted you to understand. It's dark and hell is hot in 1998. Flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood that same year.
Well, that's something else. That's my dog. He owed his grandmother.
2 #1 albums in a single calendar year, before streaming, before the internet had reshaped how music moved. That's not a feat that gets repeated. Here's what I think about when I hear DMX.
You spank me, you hug me. kissed me on my forehead, told me that you love me, and I saw.
He was one of the only artists in the history of this genre who could go from screaming about the streets to breaking down in prayer on the same, record sometimes in the same verse, and have you believe every single word of both because it was all real.
Tricking, jerking, buck-eyes, bugging, he done lost his mind. And Jarvis,
He fought the addiction his whole life. He relapsed. He went to rehab. He relapsed again. He kept showing up, kept recording, kept praying out loud on stage in arenas. He never pretended the war was over. DMX at 50, 15 children. A career that started in the Yonkers ciphers and went everywhere this music can go.
from grandma.
In a battle he fought in front of all of us openly for 30 years because he didn't know how to fight it any other way. I don't know another artist who wore their war that publicly and kept showing up anyway.
My great-grandmother making a lot of trips out of town, but that's a good thing. And if
DMX was in your car, your Walkman, your first system in the trunk, you know, this one didn't just hurt. It took something out of the room that hasn't come back.
A lot of things with your kids done changed. Yeah, Jackie's still crazy. Don't know what's up with James.
Number 2, 2021, Markie and young Dolph, ages 57 and 36.
Come on. I'm not even going for it. This is what I'm going to sing.
July 16th. Markie, Marcel Hall, passes at 57 from complications of type 2 diabetes. The clown prince of hip-hop, the human beatbox.
So I took blah blah's word for it. At this time, I thought
Just a Friend, which he wrote, performed, and put himself in the video looking like your cousin at karaoke, and still made it number 9 on the Hot 100. He made hip-hop feel joyful in a way that's actually hard to manufacture.
with sweat. I was walking through the crowd, and guess who I met? I whispered in.
Then November 17th, Memphis, Tennessee. Young Dolph, Dolph Thornton Jr., is inside Makeda's Homemade Butter Cookies, a shop in South Memphis he'd been publicly supporting for years. 2 men walk in and open fire. He was 36 years old.
Having a friend couldn't be no crime, 'cause I have friends, and that's a
Dolph had survived multiple attempts on his life before this. He stayed in Memphis anyway, built Paper Route Empire from the ground up, stayed independent when independence wasn't what the industry was offering. He did it his way, loudly, and on his own terms.
I asked her name, she said blah blah blah. She had 9, 10 pence and a
2 men were convicted of his murder in 2023, but Dolph's daughter and son still grow up without their father. And his artists, the people he was building, had to carry the label forward without the man who started it. 2021 DMX, Markie, young Dolph, among others. One of the most brutal years this culture has lived through, and it barely got named for what it was.
wanted you to wait. Let me tell you a story of my situation. I was talking to the
Number 1, 2023, Gangsta Boo and Trugoy the Dove, ages 43 and 54. January 1st, 2023, New Year's Day. Memphis loses Gangsta Boo, Lola Mitchell, the first lady of 3-6 Mafia, one of the few women who held her own in an era, in a scene that was structurally designed to push women out. She was 43 years old, a drug overdose. Then February 12th, 2023, De La Soul loses Trugoy the Dove, David Jolicoeur, to congestive heart failure. He was 54. And here's the detail about Trugoy's death that I haven't been able to shake. De La Soul's catalog, 3 Feet High and Rising, De La Soul is Dead, all of it had been locked off streaming platforms for over a decade because of sample clearance disputes. An entire generation couldn't legally access some of the most important albums this genre has ever produced. The music was there, just not reachable. In early February 2023, just days before Trugoy passed, De La Soul's music finally landed on streaming for the first time. He didn't get long to sit with that victory.
Get out.
But at least it happened while he was still here. At least he saw the music finally freed. And if you went back and played 3 Feet High and Rising in those first days of February 2023, you were listening to a man who was still alive, and that matters.